You know, it's not often that we introduce you to Swedish politics, but we're going to do that today because the Swedes have just ousted their Prime Minister. And I think this is all about immigration. Christian Whiton's with us, former advisor to the Bush and Trump administrations. Look, this is a real sea change in Swedish politics. It's a huge change going on there. Am I right? This is all about Muslim immigration into Europe. Am I right?
You're right. It also incidentally links to what Trump will talk about later, which is sovereignty, but it wouldn't be happening without uncontrolled Muslim immigration from war zones that happened in Europe. What you have is a party in Sweden that did very well in the last election. Some call it right-wing. I'd say center-right, but it's not. It's different than the Christian Democrats. It's different than the traditional center-right in that it's willing to address issues like national immigration, and did particularly well in southern Sweden near Malmö, which is now 20% Muslim, and where you have, for example, Jews who cannot wear anything that identifies them as Jews on the street because they'll be spit on not just by sort of everyday Muslims, but by Islamic supremacists. So a political reaction to that.
Boy, Angela Merkel really changed Europe without asking anybody, didn't she, a couple of years ago, I tell you. We're minutes away from the president addressing the UN General Assembly. I think, and we've been saying, that he's going to go after and focus very much on Iran. Is that right?
That's a fundamental part of it, and you have sanctions on Iran, the toughest ones coming perhaps still yet on November 4th, oil sanctions. Our European allies, at least old Europe, the traditional allies there, France, Germany, actually working against us on those. But tough sanctions coming on, but also sort of an overriding theme of sovereignty, of people, not America solving all of the world's problems, but people stepping up, in particular our Middle Eastern allies who have been very strong on Iran.
Did you see the tweet from the president this morning, Christian, where he called Rouhani, I'm sure he's an absolutely lovely man. Did you see that?
I did. And that's the president. You don't know sort of tongue-in-cheek or whether it's leaving, you know, that we don't have a regime change policy for Iran. We have a get tough on Iran policy and put Iran back in a box that Obama and John Kerry let them out of by giving them a sweetheart deal that lets them keep their nuclear program and gave them a bunch of investment.
John Bolton, National Security Advisor, he went to great lengths yesterday to say, look, regime change is not the plan in Iran. He didn't say it, but it looks to me like they're just squeezing them. That's what they're doing.
That's right, squeezing them, but leaving an off-ramp if they wish, same as we have done with North Korea, in which North Korea appears to be taking. Who knows where they go ultimately. But if Iran does want to have a different arrangement, you know, they were really on the march, not just with their nuclear program, but with spreading jihad around the Middle East, including in Lebanon and Syria. Trump has put them on their heels, and if they want to reach a sort of détente, the status quo with the United States, where they don't do those things, that's fine. But we're going to put pressure on them regardless.
I got to tell you, Christian, I'm looking forward to this speech. I find the president entertaining in many respects, and it's the kind of presidential speech that you watch. Very different from the Obama years when it was lots of lofty world peace stuff. I'm not making fun of this. I'm not mocking it. But what do you actually watch? What do you concentrate on? What do you look at? It's President Trump.
Right. And, you know, last year there was so much pearl clutching after President Trump was very stern with North Korea and said if they used a nuclear weapon that we would annihilate them. Statement of fact. And I think, you know, you'll see a lot of pearl clutching this year, too.
Wait. What's pearl clutching? That's a new one. What's that?
Well, it's a reaction when people are alarmed at language that isn't customary at the UN, but which I think Americans like, and frankly our allies like, because it's plain and direct. So explaining what the consequences will be to countries that challenge the United States and our allies may be impolitic to the Council on Foreign Relations and the Brookings Institution, but I think Americans like it.
I'm going to steal that word from you, okay, that expression. 'Cause
I stole it from someone else. So.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you very much, Christian.